we're going underneath. I didn't want to, but sadly, you can only avoid doing things you don't want to do for so long. So, it is time to grab a bucket and get underneath here, drain some oil, and make a big old mess of things. So, I'm not going too crazy cleaning this. We're not reusing any of the oil. One investment for 4,000 hours, I guess, is part of what you sign up for, like it or not. So we're on the bottom side now. Hopefully there's some sort of lighting there. I don't know what we're going to be able to see or not see. Groundwork. Oh. Do all these things, buy a car lift and all this other stuff so I don't have to work on the ground. And lo and behold, where are we at? On the ground. So this little flange plate and this is the air feed line. So we're going to start with this. We'll separate the gasket again here. Hopefully 3/4 again on this side. Of course, you're probably going to be bigger. No, just covered in rust. Break these free. Ooh. What are the odds that all of this is just because it's loose? How fun would that be? Oh. But everything on here, oh, that's not the right one. Where's my 3/4? Honestly, I don't even mind taking things apart on the ground like this. But I cannot stand being under here and having to grab tools on the outside. This is where, we don't have kids, but this is where that idea of, oh, I'm working in the garage, bring the kid with you, I'll babysit, aka hand me things that I tell you to hand me, would come in handy. I don't know if it offsets the cost of all of that. We've been living a pretty good life over here. Now, I don't know. I just loosened this and it's already spraying oil. I didn't drain the tank of this, so I have no idea how much oil is going to come out of this. This, underneath this flange part that I'm taking off, is a oil check valve. So there's a good chance this entire tank might actually drain out through this 2-bolt fitting that I'm taking off, or attempting to take off. Jesus. The pipe's in the way. I guess that's kind of mobile now that the other side's loose. Let's see if I can get a wrench on here. There we go. Loosen this enough to pop this. Oh. I love when dirt and grime and oil fall in your mouth. Look at how much fun I'm having. At least doing all of this, I know what's going to be in store moving forward. And also the expensive cost of all of this. You can get into it relatively reasonably. This compressor is probably actually worth double what I paid for it. I got lucky. You're the first one to admit that. But I've been looking for slightly updated stuff, and anything this big with this low of hours, I can't even come close to what I paid for this. So that's the air feed in. The gasket, again, stayed intact. I know it's not ideal. I should be replacing every gasket that I take off, but this is the real world. And when they charge, I was able to find this gasket for the fitting that I just took off. It's a paper gasket, very similar to like a water neck, filler neck. 2 small bolts on the outside, big hole in the middle. $48. $48 for a paper gasket. If prices were affordable and I could actually buy things, I'm not opposed to using OEM stuff if I think it's better. But same thing happened on the water pump for this. I can spend $128. It might not last as long. I would have preferred to go with the John Deere one, But $128 questionable Chinese stuff that I don't expect to last, or $500 if I want to go through John Deere. I can put 4 Chinese ones in there for that price. It's absurd. I can't afford the in-between. Like, so whatever. I don't want to rant and rally on that, but at some point, like, $48 for a paper gasket? Come on. I can make one for free. That will work just as well out of probably very comparable materials. Whatever. Not venting at all, just upset with the cost of all of this. So now that the air feed is done, I did find the manual, so I know that this right here is supposed to be a temperature valve. It's looped over, so we might actually try and rehook this back up to the sensor. Can I bring you guys over here so you can see what I'm looking at? When I bought this, I knew that it was a little bit far more hacked together. But here is the air sensor wires from this sensor that comes off of the air inlet or outlet. I don't know which one's which, but one of these. Both of the 2 big flexi hoses are air lines. This one goes into the bottom of the screw. So I think this is the one that goes back up to the tank for your feed air out after it's compressed. Goes up to the tank, and then the water or air and oil mix around the outside of the filter in that little turbine deal, and then come back out the front of this. Yeah, because the other one's the outlet. So this is the feed from the screw back to the tank. There's a temp sensor or some sort of sensor here, 2-wire, that goes up. It's looped with a little patch. I did not put that in. That's how it was when I got it. But the little spade connectors are right here. So we might try and re-rig those back together. If I'm blasting in the booth, I can't really monitor what's happening on the compressor end. Also, my concerns for getting to that other paint and powder. I love that. That airline for the main feed out, the flexi hose, just like this one, comes down to the hardline pipe that comes out to my valving up here. So we got that figured out. This gasket should be okay as well. We'll just clean up all the flanges on the inside. Maybe a little dab of silicone. Little dab will do ya. And then slap those back together. So that should be okay. Now we get to go farther up. Now all of this is oil sludge mist. I don't know what's what. I haven't been nice to this. It's been driven in salt and roads and grime and whatever else. So I don't know how much of this is from oil leaks or how much is from just road debris. That's how it goes. The road's not the cleanest place in the world, but here is the main source of the leak. I have one here, I have one here, and then the bottom of this flange was also covered in oil. So if I need to get that gasket, that's fine. We'll recut one. But I want to pop this off. And then this, from this flange back, is just an elbow and hoses, but there is an oil check valve somewhere in here, which is separate. I thought it was this oil little scavenge oil line. So that oil line we separated up top with the tube that goes in comes down to here. That actually looks pretty dry. There's a little bit of sludge and residue, but there's no wet spots. All of the wet spots were right here. So we got 4 more bolts. This whole assembly should drop down. And I'm guessing when I pop this off, all of this oil is gonna drain out, since I didn't pull any of the drain plugs. I do have a drain plug here for the tank, and that's literally a garden hose valve, but I can pop that off, open this up, and that'll drain the tank. We're just gonna start here and see what comes out. I'll set you guys back up on the tripod. Back. Again, I don't know where any of, or what size things I need, so I'm trying to keep all the hardware together more particularly than I usually would. 3/4. Now I need the 11/16. Oh, finally found the bolts that are actually tight. Not that bad, but groundwork problems. So 11/16 on these 4 at the bottom. This one's gonna hurt me. I'm too close. And this extension's too long. Oh. All right. Nothing like being excited that I didn't just have that slip and bang a knuckle on another bolt. So if any of these are gonna make a giant mess, this will be the one that does it. We got the bucket here. Can't be any worse than the tractor leak after all. Oh. Should have turned that heater on yesterday. Got the concrete warmed up a little bit. It is cold down here. It's been a while since I've had to futz around on the ground. It's still way nicer and flatter than it is at my house, so I guess I shouldn't complain. No matter what, somebody's got it worse. Somebody's doing this on a gravel driveway, somebody's doing this in the snow. Not too bad. Got a heated garage. Been very lucky with that. The shop has been a godsend in terms of the stupid stuff that I want to do. And that was only one summer last year. Also, while I'm laying on the ground, chopper party coming up. Give us a like or a follow on Instagram. It's at Chopper Barn on the old Instagram. But we are doing a party in July, end of July. Kind of like the one from last year. If you've been following a while and saw the Chopper Barn Welcome to video, I'll be resharing that a couple times here moving forward. But we are doing one more open invite type party for anybody. Just show up, don't be a dick, that's all I ask. Camping, fishing, choppers, we're doing trophies, and we got a bunch of sponsors and things like that donated to the event. So we'll be doing raffles, we're going to be doing slow races and things like that down at the water this year as well. So I'm building it up to be a little bit bigger. I'm anticipating it should be bigger than it was last year. Last year was a blast, but camping, swimming, fishing, raffles, choppers, prizes, all of the stuff. All right. I'm gonna jump back up top, clean my hands off before I get really dirty again, and then we're gonna grab a mallet and pop this free. Should be an O-ring behind this plate based on my service manual's instructions, but I don't know. We'll be back. Let's see what happens here. Oh. A little dead blow action. There's a good chance this might just fall in. Yep, called it. So the nice little bit about looking at this on the internet before, not that I found a ton of stuff, but it is an O-ring. So I'll pull you guys, let me move the bucket. I thought there was gonna be more oil coming out of there, but maybe it's been doing its job. Let's see here. So there's the O-ring. It's separated there a little bit. Just an O-ring, which is fine. But this is the main source of the oil leak as far as I could tell. And then when I mentioned it was kind of like a pig snout on a cow pie, it is, but it's two separate plates. So there's bearings on both sides of this for the vanes. It's more like a supercharger, but there's that. Oil line goes in there. So this is just the air end that's messed up. Let's pull out from underneath here. Let's see what this looks like. Got a couple rags, nice little semi-clean table. There's a pop-up valve in there right here. Set this up here. So there's a little pop-it valve down here. I'm hoping this was the source of the issue. This might have been hanging up. Looks like it's steel or stainless. Steel, more than likely. That little machined piece here. we're gonna go through and clean the crap out of all of these. So we got that. And then the big old spring. So lots of oil and sludge in here. Looks like this is all gliptalled too, or that case liner. There's red bits. Spring, little bent, little crooked, has seen better days. That could have been a problem. The outside's super sludgy. But just for first glances, the machined edges don't look too bad. The gasket looks like it's actually in pretty good shape. This was the part that was leaking. And when I said it was like gliptalled on the inside, this is a cast piece. Casting numbers on the outside, it's very heavy. But if we look on the inside here, it's got that red liner paint through both sides. So don't know why that was leaking from there. It wasn't leaking from the sensor on the pipe. So this will be our next cleanup bit. Actually have some numbers on here. I keep saying that, holding this up with the lights up here. There's some numbers on this little piece. 1202/.6/56. But the spring has seen better days. So if I can find one of these, fine. If not, I'll overstretch it a little bit, jam this back together. It's basically just a little pop-it check valve here. Slides in and out really well. We'll go through, degrease, clean all of this back up. Make sure everything's nice and smooth so that's not hanging up. And then other than that, we just have two little check valves. So not too bad on that side. I don't know how much farther I'm gonna go tonight. The back side of this, let's go back on here real quick just because I'm already filthy and dirty. But we'll take a look, see what you guys have to say. Some of you might be much more knowledgeable than I am, but sloppy, oily mess here. Sloppy, oily mess here on this little flange bit. I don't know if that was loose, maybe that was part of it, but we have relatively fresh oil on this flange. So we will clean that up, replace that flange, a little bit of silicone when that goes back in. The screw itself doesn't look too bad. If we get up here, that little bit of oil on the corner there is from my finger. The rest of it's kind of sludgy. I'm not saying it's not misting, but that's pretty much it. I mean, there's back rear section. That top oil line is right here. Looks like there's some oil over here, but I also did spill a ton when I topped this off the other day just as a safety precaution. That looks like dust and grime, dust and grime, dust and grime. That might have been oil spray at some point. But if we come farther back, there's a little, gets a little heavier back here. But I don't know how much, like the only wet parts on the bottom of this are on this pipe flange and this fitting to here. So we'll clean this up, fresh O-ring, clean up the flange. I think that's it. It might start a little higher. I don't want to mess with the end of the screw caps unless I absolutely have to. At that point, we'll use a new bucket and freshen it up because the oil's so expensive, but snug up and make sure that these are all threaded together and tight. Hook the wiring back up there. And then, honestly, I need to do a deep power wash on this and start from scratch where it's all bare paint again and then kind of see what happens. So for right now, I'm gonna call that good. I might slide the bucket over and drain the oil. And grab these bolts real quick before I lose them. But one valve, one gasket, and drain some oil. And I think we should be in pretty good shape. Let's get this draining. We'll open that up, drain all this out, and then a lot of cleanup in the next day or two. I don't know if I'm gonna come back for the cleaning part because that's boring. If I do film it, it'll be time-lapse, enjoy the tunes. If not, we'll be back in a couple days when I can start putting this back together and get some parts ordered. I'm sick of being under here. I'm covered in oil and holding the camera sucks. We'll be back. Back under. I said I was gonna pull the drain valve, but I'm actually taking some of this off. I popped this air line off that runs down. This goes to the regulator or the intake valve up on the top side of the blower or the screw. So this one I pulled off. I blew this line out. Fresh, clean air going through there, no resistance whatsoever. And then just popped a drain plug on the bottom of this front valve. I have no idea what it is or what it does, but drain that. So we got oil out of there. It's dripping slowly now. Enough where I can just put a rag there, but I want to pop this oil line off while we're at it. Because I think that there's a fitting in here somewhere. Let's see what we can do here. I just want to blow through every one of the oil lines and the air lines. Make sure everything's free and clear. So, 5/8 on that fitting. And, all right, that's off there. So now I just gotta wrestle and wiggle this out. Come on. There we go. Nice stream of oil coming through. We'll let this one drain. But basically after this drains overnight, when we come back tomorrow, I'll blow air back up through this, make sure we have nice free passages on everything. So make sure. Looks like there's another freeze plug or drain plug here, but I don't think that one has to come out. Looks like a flange up top, so this might actually be able to come out. And if we look up here, yeah, all this is this little manifold. There's 2 bolts on the outside here. Bolt this outer bearing support for the screws. So if I look up in here, I can see the veins from the screws right up here through this hole. So this is literally the air outlet with a little bit of oil vapors coming down. Comes in through the top, goes through the screws, comes out through here, ducted through this pipe, back up to the oil separator, and then the air comes out from the separator back to the front. So it's making a little more sense. The screws on the inside, very clean, no gouging, no nothing. I think that should be okay. But like I said, this line is blown out now. We'll pop off the upper side. I don't have to blow this one out, but pop up the upper one on the one that runs up to the throttle. But there's that. So now we can do the drain here. This one stopped leaking. So we'll move that over. And where is my drain plug? Oh God. I hate doing groundwork. Here's the bolt for the drain plug on this side that I just took out. Wipe that down. Put that right back in. We're supposed to have some 60-degree weather next week, I think. So if that is the case, I will fire up the power washer and give this one deep cleaning. Hopefully I can have it at least back together enough to be comfortable by then. Right now, not so much. So 3/4 on this drain bolt. What is this one? Another air line. Comes up and over. So this one goes up to the oil filter here, whatever this valve is. So we'll have to figure that one out. Oh, maybe we'll pop that off tomorrow too. If it's another O-ring type deal, I don't mind taking it apart. So that's gonna be it for now. I'm gonna pop the cap off of this, drain the reservoir. So while this is draining, I'm looking over here. I got one air line that comes out of here and goes somewhere up top. We're gonna figure that one out. But I think while it's already coming apart, there's a good chance that I might be separating this as well. Trying to see where that goes. One of these lines goes up to the air cooler, but whatever that one is. So this, we had the little pop-up valve for the air stop oil valve. I don't know. But there's the oil line that we got separated off the back side of this, and then another 4 bolts and a flange here. And then the check valve. I think this is actually, let's go up top. I think that might be the air cooler, after cooler line. Let's see. That's this one here. Oh, no. That goes up to the oil filter. The oil filter line. So there's 2 lines for the oil filter here on the bottom. So that comes out from the bottom of the screw. I don't know if it goes this way or if it goes the other way, but that one over there that I was looking at on the bottom side is this one on the front side here. It comes up through the filter. Then the plate runs up and over, and then these 2 lines go to the aftercooler. So we might separate those 2. Why not? What's one more thing? It's not leaking. It doesn't look like it's leaking, at least. But we're already this far. Might as well freshen up that whole oil system. Make sure all of the lines are free and flowing. Then we can start messing around with trying to get the idle to come back down the way it's supposed to. I thought it was messed up, but if I turn the pressure regulator up just a tiny bit while it's running, it still spikes and revs back up and then drops back down once it meets the pressure it needs. So I think all of that's working. The thing's just big and loud. We'll be back tomorrow after I get done at the coating shop, and we'll start jamming away on the rest of that, separate those other ones, start blowing things out, and then lay this out to put it all back together. Hopefully I can find some O-rings. If not, I'll have to order some parts, and whenever we come back, it'll be a little bit more apart.